Welcome to Life Together, podcast here at the Chapel and Green. My name is Collie Brandon. I am your host, and I'm excited to have here today Pastor Scott and Kylie Praxl. Pastor Scott is our new adult ministries pastor here, and we're excited to get a chance to have a talk and conversation with them and to hear from them to kind of introduce them to you guys here at the Chapel and Green. Thanks so much for
Mhm.
joining us,
Oh,
Scott and
thank you.
Kylie.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
So, for those of us who are just getting a chance to know you guys, can both you guys just tell us a little bit about your backstory? Where are you from? How did
Mm,
you end up here at the Chapel and Green?
mm, mm. You want to start?
Sure.
Okay.
I was born in upstate New York and um, grew up there and went to a state university of New York, way up north near Canada for college. And that's where I met Scott.
I grew up in
Mhm.
I grew up in Syracuse, New York, mid-state.
Okay.
Yeah. Three brothers, mom and dad, and also went to SUNY Potsdam, half hour south of the Canadian border, and that's where I met Kylie.
Okay. So you guys are at that's interesting. So you met at a public university.
hmm
Mhm.
Yeah.
Were you guys followers of Christ
Mm.
when you guys met each other?
Mhm.
Did you have class together, or
Yeah.
how'd you guys meet there?
Yeah. I had other plans going to a different university. I actually wanted to go to Taylor
Okay.
University, and health made me stay closer to home.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom had graduated from that college,
Mm.
and my dad from a university nearby. So we knew the area, knew that there was a really strong InterVarsity Christian fellowship.
Mm.
Otherwise, I don't think I would have gone to a secular college if there
Mm-hmm.
wasn't a Christian presence that we knew was healthy and thriving.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I was a believer when I went to school and grew up accepting Christ, I think when I was 7. Um, and so it was really important to me to have that fellowship on campus that I could be a part of immediately. Um, and I was in a freshman dorm. And because it was a secular university, my room looked down the guys' hall. And so I was on a girls' hall, but looked down the guys' hall.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the hall that Scott was on. And so I think one of the first meetings of InterVarsity was where we met.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I grew up Catholic, just really going through the motions until my parents got saved when I was, I don't know, maybe around 13.
Okay.
So we left the Catholic Church when I was around 16, but I really wasn't following God at
Mhm.
all. Halfway through my senior year of high school, I accepted Christ and welcomed him into my life, and that began a series of pretty radical changes in my
Mhm.
life. I was the first one in my family to go to college, so I didn't get much help, didn't know much about how to do it.
Yeah.
And so I was dating a girl at the time. She was going to Potsdam, and so I decided to go to Potsdam as well.
Mhm.
Um, Being a new believer, I knew I needed to get connected with other Christians, maybe even get involved in a church. And somehow I found out about InterVarsity. I don't know if it was a poster on a wall, but I showed up that first Friday night, and the staff member knew that I was new,
Mhm.
and he connected me with Kylie since we were on the same hall,
Wow.
really close. Yeah, so that's how we met.
So, did you guys, now I'm being nosy, did you guys start dating soon after, or were you guys just friends for a while?
Yeah, we We were just friends. He was dating the girl he followed there.
Okay.
And I was dating somebody back home.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those relationships ended that
Mm.
freshman year, but we were just friends. Um, and there wasn't cell phones back then, so over the
Yeah.
summer we talked by landline
Mm-hmm.
and wrote letters to
Yeah.
each other just as friends, and
Mm.
yeah, didn't start dating until sophomore year.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the
Okay.
fall.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
So you guys dated in college, and then did you get married once you were finished with college, or before you were finished, or what?
Mhm.
When did you guys get married?
Yeah. Yeah, we were best friends freshman year,
Mm-hmm.
and then started dating at the beginning of our sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
We were engaged halfway through our junior year,
Mm-hmm.
and we got married right after our senior year in August of '95.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
hmm
So you guys get married then. Did you have were you feeling a call to the ministry by then?
Yeah. I originally went to Potsdam to be a teacher. I wanted to be a
Okay.
social studies teacher. My social studies teacher in high school made a big impact on me, and I always loved history.
Mm-hmm.
So my plan was to teach high school history. So that was the undergrad degree that I got. When we graduated college, uh, I didn't head off to seminary right away. I felt the call to ministry maybe in my junior year of
Mm-hmm.
college. So I knew seminary was in my future because I didn't grow up with Sunday school. I didn't grow up with the
Yes.
Bible. I really didn't know much. But I also knew that I was probably not mature enough to handle graduate level studies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I slept my way through a lot of college, and because I was doing ministry with InterVarsity, I
Yeah.
preferred to do that. So we decided to just take some time in our first years of being married. And so I taught middle school. I taught sixth, seventh, and eighth grade um, history, social
Mm-hmm.
studies for 3 years while I was waiting for God to grow me up and God to
Mm-hmm.
call me. And those 3 years were in a Catholic school,
Okay.
and we lived near where Kylie grew up.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So Kylie, you finished school at the same time.
hmm
What what was your degree in?
I was elementary education and biology
Oh, okay.
because I didn't know how to combine those. um, So yeah, I did biology and elementary ed, and after we got married, I student taught. I was able to graduate, but then still student teach
Yeah.
after that. And then we both, I subbed and tried to get a teaching job, but
Yeah.
in New York it was hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we both worked two jobs trying to pay off his school loans and
Mm-hmm.
um, I knew he had felt called to the ministry, but we both kind of agreed that we needed that time for him to just figure things out, grow
Yeah.
up, and
Grow up. Yeah.
yeah. And so it was about 3 years
Mhm.
after that. I feel like God spoke to both of us separately. And I don't remember how exactly. I just
Mm-hmm.
remember starting to feel like, yeah,
Yeah,
now
now's the time.
is the time.
Yeah.
And we then said, "Are you feeling that?" um, and so then he started looking into seminaries.
Mhm. Yeah.
Where did you go to seminary?
Well, we had really settled on Reformed Theological down in Orlando.
Okay.
We actually went to Charlotte to visit their extension site, and I was pretty set on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had an elder in Kylie's church who had us over for dinner, and Kylie grew up with this elder and his family. And when he heard where I was thinking about going, he recommended another seminary. And it was in Chicago, and I told him I don't want to live in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like I don't want a big city.
I think you
Mhm.
said, "I'm not going to
Yeah,
Chicago,"
exactly
which
what I
then
said
I
is debatable.
knew,
Yeah, but
I knew, oh no.
and so he challenged me that if I really wanted to follow the Lord,
Mhm.
that I would at least look into it. And so I got a catalog from Trinity Evangelical Divinity
Yes.
School,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked through it, and their mission statement at the time had a lot of language in it about knowing God being our highest priority, knowing Him from Philippians 2. And that's exactly where the Lord had me in my own studies and
Mm-hmm.
what He was speaking to me personally at that time. Those two things just matched up. So Kylie and I drove out and visited the campus, and it was just hand in glove. It was just a
Yeah.
perfect fit. So Chicago, not Orlando.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a
Yeah,
difference.
big difference.
So you went to Trinity,
Hmm.
to Ted's,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and how long was that, a 2 or 3 year program that you were in?
Yeah, that was a 3-year Master's of Divinity, but I
Mm-hmm.
did it in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I took my time, and Kylie was gracious to work full time so
Mm-hmm.
that I could really just focus in on my studies. And so for at least 2 of the years, I didn't work. I just did school.
Yeah.
And I think that was really helpful. Again, I needed to catch up. I didn't have Sunday school and
Yes.
discipleship, and so it was wonderful. Yeah.
Kylie, were you teaching in the Chicago area at the time, or?
I ended up working on the campus because there
Okay.
was the seminary and the graduate school and an undergrad
Mm-hmm.
all on the one campus. And so I actually worked in the athletic department. I was the assistant to the athletic director.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was able to also be an assistant women's basketball coach while I was there
Okay.
too.
So you played basketball.
Yes, I did.
Oh, she plays.
Okay. You still play.
No, unfortunately not.
Did you play at Potsdam?
I
Or-
was going to, but my
Okay.
health was just precarious at that point.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Now I'm fascinated now. I got to
Yeah.
talk some basketball
I know, right?
when we get a chance.
Yeah.
So this isn't on the script, but I want to know, like, so after you graduated from Trinity, what was your first job or position out of there?
Yeah. So in my last year of seminary, I had gotten connected with the dean of students at
Mhm.
Trinity, and we had become friends. And he received a call from a friend who was the executive pastor at a church in Warren, Ohio,
Mhm.
North Mar Church,
Mhm.
part of the Christian and Missionary Alliance.
Mhm.
And so my friend connected me with his friend, and yeah, I mean, the rest was history. So they were looking for a pastor of adult ministries.
Mhm.
It was about a church of 1,200 at the time. And I definitely knew that I was called to work with adults.
Yes.
I really thought I was going to be doing preaching as a lead
Mhm.
pastor. Not growing up in church, when I thought of church ministry, really I only had senior pastor in my mind. That's really
Yes.
all I knew. But as we were looking for roles, applying to jobs at the end of seminary,
Mhm.
just nothing was opening up as a lead pastor, a senior pastor. So I began to consider associate roles, and that's when this one opened up at Northmar, and it was a perfect fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a perfect fit.
How long were you guys there in Warren?
Yeah,
13 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
13
wow.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Mhm.
so that would have been like late 90s or early
2002.
2002 when
Yep.
you that okay, yes, I skipped the 3
Yeah.
years that you had after graduation
Mhm.
from
Mm,
Potsdam.
mm,
Okay,
mm.
so you were there at North Mar, and that went well. And then you had a season of being a lead pastor.
Mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
can you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah. So Northmar was a perfect fit.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the staff, loved the people. We had deep connections. Kylie's parents had actually moved from New York to live near us in Warren. And so everything on paper was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Around year 11, our lead pastor encouraged all of the elders to be praying what's next for the church.
Mm-hmm.
And so I began praying what's next for the church, and just kind of heard the Lord say, I want you to pray, what's next for you?
Yeah.
Which was a shock because I was happy.
Mm-hmm.
And the plan was to retire there. I had no desire to step stones to some other position.
Yes.
We were happy. So I obeyed the Lord. I began praying what's next. And over the next 2 years, I just began sharing what the Lord was doing in my heart with different
Mm-hmm.
people, and just began sensing the Lord's saying it's time to move on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's time to step into this role of a preaching pastor.
Yeah.
My emphasis in seminary was on preaching because,
Mm-hmm.
again, I always thought I was going to do that. So in year 13, I finally let my church know, hey, I've been working on this for 2 years, and I feel like God's calling us away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when a position opened up at Whipple Heights Alliance Church in Canton.
Yeah.
And that's also a Christian and Missionary Alliance church.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would be remiss in not asking this during these years that you guys are talking about describing. When did you guys start your family? Because you have 2 daughters, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a baby boy that we lost
Okay.
in seminary.
Mhm.
And then I was pregnant with our first daughter
Mm-hmm.
in 2002 when he graduated from seminary, and we
Mhm.
moved to Warren. So then she was born not long after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had our second a few years later.
Okay.
2005. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So you have a young family.
Hmm.
You go from Warren to Whipple Heights, and then you were at Whipple Heights about how long?
11 years.
11 years.
Yep.
Okay. And that brings us to now. So now you're
Mhm.
here,
Yeah.
right? You're here. You're back kind of in adult ministries
Mhm.
again. What brings you here? What drew your interest here?
Mm.
Was it a similar sort of thing? You were praying and you felt the Lord was calling you back
Mm.
to adult ministries. What did that look like?
Yeah. The situation as a lead pastor was a little bit different than the situation in Warren at Northmar. After preaching for years and years and years and leading the church in every area, not just of ministry, but building programs and, picking the color of the carpet and all of those different things that go into being a lead pastor in a church of 100. So a big change there as well. I just began to realize that this is not the best fit for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the people or the location but I found out that I liked to preach, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I loved preparing and digging into the scriptures and commentaries. But when it came to preaching on Sunday morning, that was more anxiety ridden than it was joyful.
Yeah.
And then also just, having to deal with every minor thing that happened at the church. That just was not my strength. I think I told Kylie several times, I feel like I'm always operating out of weakness in this role. And I know God is glorified, he's made strong when we are weak. I get
Yes.
all that, but rarely using those skills and gifts that I was strong in that I had developed at Northmar. Nothing with small groups, very little with discipleship one-on-one. And so it began to feel like this is not a good fit for
Yeah.
me, for how God's designed me. And so when we had moved to Warren in 2002, I thought I knew everything about ministry. I was fresh out of seminary, 29. What don't I know, right? And I quickly realized I didn't know much.
Yeah.
And so I heard about the Ohio Christian Educators Association, this conference that was being held at the chapel in
Mm-hmm.
Akron.
Yes.
And this conference helped train ministry leaders in how to run programs and develop ministries. And that was the stuff I didn't know much about. So I began attending those every year. And one year I sat in on a class called Understanding Catholicism. I grew up Catholic. It was of interest to me. We had Catholics in our church.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this will be great for me to learn, but to pass it on. And a pastor at the chapel named Mike Costelli was teaching that class. And I loved it, not just for myself, but for others. And so
Yeah.
at the end of the class, I asked him, hey, can I steal this from you? Can I? Oh, sure, no problem. Here, and he gave me his teaching notes.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me his information. He took my information and emailed me a PDF of it. And he was just so open-handed with it that it stuck in. I can still close my eyes and see the room where we were, a long
Yeah.
rectangular room. And then our staff had also interacted with Newt Larson. He had done some pastoral training stuff. And I was always impressed that the chapel was so open-handed with their resources. With the best of what they had, they were open-handed with other churches. And so I always remembered that. And I always thought, boy, it'd be great to work for a church like this. But, I'm happy, so it's all good. And
Yeah.
so flash forward to 2025, and I'm feeling the way I'm feeling about the lead pastor role. And a friend of mine had just become a member here at Green, and he had met with Happy in November, and Happy had basically said, I can't really talk to you right now. I'm up to my eyeballs. We just had a transition in leadership, and we've got a position open for a pastor of adult ministry. I got to figure that out. So talk to me in the winter. So my friend passed that on to me, and I emailed Happy in January and said, hey, if you want to talk, and sent him my resume. And Happy said, can you do breakfast this week? And so he and I sat down for breakfast and hit it off well, and things moved pretty quickly after that. He knew what he wanted. I knew what I wanted. And I feel like this is another Northmar situation where it's a glove and I'm a hand, and we fit really well. Yeah. Yeah.
What, Kylie, during this time period, what were you up to? Were you working? Were you stay-at-home mom? Were you obviously, well, even if you are working, you're parenting, right? What did this time period look like for you?
I was homeschooling the girls
Okay.
up until our oldest, Madison, was in high school. Then she wanted to go to Glen Oak. And Avery then wanted to go to public school. So they both were now out of the home, and so I was kind of lost in a way. And so I started getting into ministry as much as possible. I was coordinating women's ministry and overseeing the nursery, and just tried to be a friend to women in the church.
Yeah.
And then a year and some ago, well, I had started volunteering also at the Pregnancy and Parenting Center, and then that turned into a part-time job. So paired with church ministry and the pregnancy center, it's been kind of, lots of ministry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you guys are here now. What would you say your vision is for adult ministries here?
Yeah. Well, I love that I've already kind of inherited the vision for groups being like the primary vehicle for how discipleship and becoming more like Christ is going to be here at the chapel. I'm thrilled to inherit that vision, and I'm just going to continue it. Yeah, I think groups are one of the best ways
Mm-hmm.
for people to become more like Christ. We've been involved in groups of various kinds from day one for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 18 and a freshman in college, they put me in the freshman small group. And then sophomore year, I led the freshman small group. And it just goes on and on from there
Yeah.
between one-on-one discipleship and young marrieds class and our own small groups that we started. Groups have always been a part of our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and they've always been one of the most significant parts of our
Mm-hmm.
lives. And when we did not have them, we felt it, we knew it.
Yeah.
And so I want everyone to experience that same joy of becoming more like Jesus with other people who are becoming more like Jesus, and
Mm-hmm.
doing funerals and weddings and new babies and all of the stuff in between.
Yeah.
So I just love it. Yeah, I just love groups.
Mhm.
You guys have been married now, how long?
Coming up to 31 years.
31 years.
Yep.
Mhm.
How do you guys navigate the busyness of serving in ministry
Mm.
and being married,
Mhm.
which can be difficult?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You want to take that?
sure, I can. uh, Number one, I mean, Kylie kind of grew up in a ministry family. Her dad was a pretty active elder
Mm-hmm.
in her home church, and her mom sold Christian books at book fairs, and so um, she kind of grew up ministry adjacent, and
Mm-hmm.
so she grew up with her dad leaving at 8 o'clock at night because he had an elders meeting or he had an emergency to go to at the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, and so I think she was already kind of prepared for some of those things that just pop up in ministry.
Yes.
And so that made it easier for me. That gave me a lot more flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think too, we guarded our time. My former lead pastor, Myron Dahm, once told me that not every emergency that pops up is your crisis.
Yes.
So sometimes things happen that get a person all riled up,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't mean that you need to take care of that and address it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Most things can wait. If there's blood on the floor, we got to take care of it now.
Yes.
But there's rarely blood on the floor. And
Mm-hmm.
he also told me too that sometimes when we step in and help when a person is in crisis, sometimes we push the Holy Spirit out of the way
Mm.
because that person is relying on you
Mm-hmm.
rather than going to God first.
Yeah.
And so I've always remembered that and tried to judge and be discerning. Is this something I have to respond to right away or
Mm-hmm.
not? And so I think we've balanced it fairly well. Yeah, keeping those worlds separate but connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of communication and planning too.
Mhm.
You know, comparing schedules regularly, and I think you can get in a rut where ministry is what you talk about the most.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And you realize, wait, there are other parts of our marriage,
Mm-hmm.
our family, that
Mm-hmm.
we could be talking about.
Mm.
So I think we've had, a number of times over the years where it's like, okay, wait, we need to regroup
Mm.
and figure this out, or
Mm.
change where we've put our time and effort, our brain power,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of an ever-changing thing.
It
And with
always
a new
needs to be.
position, now it's okay. Now it's a new schedule. It's
Yes.
a new day off.
Mhm.
He had Fridays off for a long time,
Yeah.
for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so just that one change is like, okay,
Yeah,
wait,
it's a big deal.
so that's, it's a change to the family schedule.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
So yeah, it's kind of an ever-changing,
Mhm.
and you would think after 31 years, communication would be perfected.
Well, I mean, ours is perfected, but
Right.
other people
In
don't have it
case they're
perfected.
watching
In
and
case
they
they're
don't,
watching,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, so it's just kind of a time to, okay, wait, let's reevaluate and see where we need to buffer, protect, strengthen, work on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So this is interesting because you mentioned this is a good lead in. Something as it would seem as minor as like going from having Friday off to having Monday off, but what's like a perfect day off for you guys? What's something that you guys enjoy doing together?
Mm, mm. I think we both kind of enjoy taking it easy
Mm-hmm.
in the morning and
Mhm.
not rushing around to get something accomplished or to get somewhere. So I'm a coffee drinker, and I can't think of anything better than to be sitting in a comfortable chair or couch with a cup of coffee and
Mhm.
my devotionals and just taking my time working through that. And so lately on Mondays, we've just sat and done our devotions
Mhm.
separately. Sometimes listening to a worship podcast that we have, um, and then just deciding, what are we going to do today?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I don't think we usually have an agenda like, okay, it's my day off, and so I have to do this or I have to do that, or I think it's just a matter of whatever needs to get done, and if we can do it together, great.
Mhm.
Let's do that. So I think we're pretty flexible,
Yeah.
fairly flexible.
Yeah. We like to take walks.
Hmm.
We live fairly close to Gervasi, so we like to go to
Mhm.
the trails that walk around through Gervasi. And
Mhm.
um, if we hit it right, there's live music, so then we can
Yeah.
sit and enjoy that. Or, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, we kind of enjoy just taking it easy.
yeah.
Do
It,
you, do you,
if I can sweat, that's good.
Mhm.
Because we sit at a desk all day,
Yes.
and so if I can do something physical, even just mow the
Mhm.
lawn, I feel pretty good
Yeah.
doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Do you guys have a pet or anything? Do you guys take a dog? Are you taking a dog
Mhm.
on the or dogs on the walk with you or?
We have a dog. She doesn't know how to be a dog. um, so we don't take her. She was a rescue and abused and lived in a kennel all of her
Yeah.
life. So she doesn't know how to be a dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah,
and we have 2 cats
yeah,
as well.
Mhm.
yep.
Yep,
So,
yeah, but none that we take on walks. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
just the 2
Okay.
of us.
Mhm.
I know a little bit about that. We have a dog too that's a rescue, and
Oh,
Yeah.
um, she has gotten a lot better on walks, but
mm,
you just
it's a
gave me
challenge.
you just gave me some PTSD from the first 6 months or year of
Oh
I
no.
know,
taking
right?
her on walks and
Yeah.
her reacting to any and
Mm, mm,
everybody that was
mhm.
out
Yeah.
can be difficult.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you guys, you mentioned podcast.
Mhm.
Mm.
Is there a podcast that you guys listen to other than Life Together, the podcast of the Chapel and Green,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that you would recommend to folks?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Uh, well, we
Worship.
listen to the Worship Initiative. It's a singing devotional, Shane and Worship Initiative. You
Hmm.
get a text Monday through Friday,
Mm.
and they sing a worship song and do a devotional based on the scripture that goes
Hmm.
with that song. So we do like to listen to that.
And it's only 15 minutes long, so
Yeah.
it's quick and easy, but
Hmm.
it has that element of music and scripture that
Mhm.
I think is really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we put that in the show notes or anything like that for people? I mean,
Yeah,
I,
link.
a link maybe,
I
or
think
I don't
we
know.
can.
Okay, yeah. We'll work on
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Is there a TV show or anything that you guys are enjoying right now?
We tend to, I mean, we like very different shows, but we have found a couple that we really like, whether it's like an HGTV show.
Mhm.
We like Renovation Aloha. They're in Hawaii fixing up houses, so that's
Yeah.
fun to see Hawaii.
Mhm.
Castle Impossible.
Yes,
Yeah, they're
yes.
renovating a French mansion, castle,
A castle,
chateau,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, building their family while they're doing it. That's fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
What is one thing that God is teaching each of you guys kind of during this season of transition?
Mm, mm. I can give you time to think about that one. Um, yeah, so I think um, things went so well in my first role for those 13 years
Mhm.
that I was a little cocky going into my lead pastor role.
Mhm.
Um, and I think I operated, um, I, I, I operated, I think, a lot on experience and know-how and education and not enough on the spirit.
Yeah.
I just thought, yeah, I can do this. Been here, done that. Bought the
Mhm.
T-shirt, made the T-shirt, and that was just sinful. It's
Mhm.
just sinful. And so coming into this role, I've been really intentional about praying more and trusting the Lord with this meeting
Mhm.
that's coming up.
Mhm.
I did not pray before our podcast. Just I did not personally. You did, which is great. But
Mhm.
so I'm working on inviting the Lord into this ministry to do the work
Mhm.
because sure I might be able to, but it's going to be better if He does it
Yeah.
and He gets the glory. So He's still teaching me that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I need to rely on Him more. Yeah, yeah.
I think for me, I made busyness um, a convenient excuse,
Mm.
or yeah, it was just how I did life. And as he's stripped away some of my ministries,
Mhm.
and just other things, I keep coming back to, okay, yeah, I realized I was maintaining a posture of busyness, and it was kind of not reliant on him. It
Mhm.
was, I got to stay busy in order to accomplish all of these things on my list of jobs.
Yeah.
And I didn't really truly learn how to rest and
Mm.
abide in him.
Mhm.
There's a worship song, Abide, that like has hit me over the head. Um, I don't know what it means to abide. I've really gotten good at busyness and
Yeah.
organization, and it's all good things,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but yeah, so I feel like he's kind of showing me you need to just chill out.
Yes. Yes. So, as we wrap up, is there anything that the church can be praying for you
Mm,
guys and your family in this season?
mm.
Mm.
I think probably the most important thing is for our family, me, Kylie, and our 20-year-old daughter Avery, who's coming now to the chapel as well.
Mhm.
I think the most important thing for us would be to develop those personal relationships
Yes.
with people. Um, we don't just want to be a pastoral family.
Mhm.
uh, we want to be involved in people's lives. We
Yeah.
want to have our own tribe, our own squad of people that
Mhm.
we love and they love us. And so even as simple as just getting to know names. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I've got 1,638 of them down,
Wow.
but there's still, another 700 or so that I got to
Yeah.
learn. So, but even as simple as learning names, that's the first step in getting to know a person.
Yes.
So if people could just pray that we would make significant, healthy, personal connections with
Yeah.
people, that'd be, is
Mhm.
that fair?
hmm
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much
Mm.
for taking time. I know
Mhm.
you both are, no pun intended, like you're busy,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes it's difficult to make time. So I'm
Mm.
glad that you guys came in and
Mm.
had this conversation with us because, like I said at the beginning, it gives, I think, our folks an opportunity to get a chance to, at least on a surface level, get a chance to know you guys. And like you said, prayerfully and our family's going on our 10th year here now at
Wow.
the church,
Mhm.
and
Wow.
it's just amazing who God has brought into our lives
Mm.
while we've been here, and
Mm.
I know it'll be the same for
Yeah,
you
that's
guys as
encouraging.
well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're so grateful to have you both here.
Yeah, thanks.
It's funny, I got a chance to meet you last fall,
Yeah.
before any of this even happened, with
Right.
you
Yeah.
working at the Pregnancy and Parenting Center,
Mm.
and you working with us on the Giving Tree.
Yeah.
So right now we're in June. I don't want to think about the
Yeah.
cold and snow and Giving Tree right now,
Yes.
but I know me and Vicky are looking forward to working with you
Yeah.
Mm.
again on that. And
Mm.
of course, God, it's been great to get a chance to
Mm.
know you some and work with you,
Yeah,
and
I've
just
loved
to
it.
see how the Lord is going to use you,
Mm.
like you
Mm.
said, through the vehicle of groups
Mhm.
and relationships,
Mhm.
to draw people closer to Him,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
and to one another.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
thanks, guys.
No,
Thank you
thank
for
you,
having
Kelly.
us.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
Thanks to our viewers and listeners. We're so
Mhm.
grateful that you joined us to partake in this podcast. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon. All
Mhm.
right. Bye.